The prison where fate waited quietly. Far from the light of his father's tents and the wide skies of Canaan, Joseph lived behind stone walls in Egypt. Though innocent of the crime that placed him there, he dwelled in the prison of Pharaoh, a place where shadows lingered and hope often faded. Yet even here, something unseen was moving. Time itself seemed to pause, as if waiting for the next turn in Joseph's destiny. Joseph was no longer merely a prisoner. Because of his integrity and wisdom, the keeper of the prison trusted him and placed him in charge of the other inmates. Chains still clinked, doors still closed, but order and calm followed Joseph wherever he walked. Two servants of the king fall from favor. One day, two new prisoners entered the prison, both men of high rank who had once served Pharaoh himself. One had been Pharaoh's chief cupbearer, entrusted with guarding the king's drink. The other had been Pharaoh's chief baker, responsible for preparing the bread that sustained the royal household. Both men had angered their lord, though the story does not reveal how. Pharaoh's wrath was swift, and they were cast into the same prison where Joseph lived. The captain of the guard placed them under Joseph's care, and day after day Joseph attended to them, unaware that their presence would soon change his life. A night filled with troubling dreams. One night, while the prison slept under the weight of silence, both men dreamed. These were no ordinary dreams that fade with morning light. They were heavy, vivid, and filled with symbols that clung to the mind like mist. When morning came, Joseph noticed their troubled faces. He asked them why sorrow rested so deeply upon them. They explained that each of them had dreamed a dream, but there was no one to interpret it. In Egypt, dreams were believed to carry messages from the divine, and without understanding, such dreams were a source of fear. Joseph responded with calm confidence, explaining that interpretations belonged to God, and inviting them to tell him what they had seen. The dream of the cupbearer. The cupbearer spoke first. He described seeing a vine before him with 3 branches. As he watched, the vine budded, blossomed, and produced ripe grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in his hand, and he pressed the grapes into the cup and placed it into Pharaoh's hand. Joseph listened carefully and then explained the meaning. He told the cupbearer that the 3 branches represented 3 days. Within that time, Pharaoh would lift up the cupbearer's head and restore him to his former position. He would once again place the cup into Pharaoh's hand, just as he had done before his fall. Joseph then asked the cupbearer for one thing. He explained that he had been taken unjustly from his homeland and imprisoned without cause. He asked that when the cupbearer was restored, he would remember Joseph and speak to Pharaoh on his behalf. The dream of the baker. Encouraged by the favorable interpretation, the baker stepped forward and shared his dream. He had seen 3 baskets of white bread on his head. In the top basket were baked goods for Pharaoh, but birds came and ate them from the basket. Joseph's expression grew solemn as he explained the meaning. The 3 baskets also represented 3 days. But unlike the cupbearer's fate, the baker's future was grim. Joseph explained that Pharaoh would lift up the baker's head from him, executing him, and birds would consume his flesh. The prison seemed to grow colder as the word settled. Yet Joseph spoke with honesty, neither softening the truth nor delighting in it. 3 days later, truth unfolds. On the 3rd day, Pharaoh celebrated his birthday with a feast for all his servants. In the midst of the celebration, he called for the cupbearer and the baker. Just as Joseph had foretold, Pharaoh restored the cupbearer to his position, and he once again placed the cup into Pharaoh's hand. The baker, however, was executed, and his life ended exactly as Joseph had described. Every word spoken in the prison came to pass. Forgotten in the moment of fulfillment. Despite his restoration and relief, the cupbearer did not remember Joseph. Gratitude faded beneath the comfort of regained status. Joseph remained in prison, waiting, while doors above him opened and closed without him, yet the silence was not empty. God's plan continued to move, unseen but unstoppable. Explanation and lessons from Genesis chapter 40. Genesis chapter 40 is not a story of creation, but of preparation. It shows how God works quietly behind the scenes, using ordinary days and unexpected encounters to shape a greater future. Joseph does not gain freedom in this chapter, but he gains confirmation of his calling. His gift of interpreting dreams proves true, even when it brings painful truths. One of the central lessons is faithfulness in confinement. Joseph serves with integrity even when forgotten and wronged. Another lesson is that truth must be spoken honestly, whether it brings hope or sorrow. Joseph does not manipulate interpretations to please others. He remains faithful to God's message. The chapter also teaches patience. God's promises often unfold slowly, and deliverance may not come when expected. The forgotten Joseph is not abandoned. Instead, he is being positioned for a moment that will change nations. Finally, Genesis 40 reminds readers that God's power is not limited by place or circumstance. Even in a prison, divine wisdom speaks, destinies turn, and the future quietly takes shape.